All right, Dr. Bauer, it is November and it's the November edition of Superintendent Live. We are live on Facebook. Hello to everybody in Facebook land. I'm Bob Gilmore, Coordinator of Communications Media, and I'm with the Superintendent of North Penn School District, Dr. Todd Bauer. How we doing, Dr. Bauer?
Bob, I'm doing great. I was pleased to hear you got the month correct this time.
I know, I've been struggling with that.
I also see a new addition behind you there. It says WMPV 98.5 FM.
It does. If people have been listening for a little while, you probably have figured out that we've been broadcasting on 98.5 WMPV and 1440 AM. So we have student DJs and all the simulcasts of North Penn Television. This is not on WMPV right now. This is only Facebook. But basically, like school board meetings, sporting events, concerts, all those types of things are also simulcast on the station. So students have been working hard on that, and it's been exciting to listen. So if you're out there and you're driving around, there are no commercials. So it's a wonderful mix of music, and you get to hear our students hone their craft in broadcasting. So I didn't expect to do an ad for WMPV, but there we go.
So I'm just thinking of like back to my childhood where we used to tune in to 1440 AM on the radio dial to listen whether or not school was closed.
Correct.
I think we should have some fun with that this year, Bob.
Oh, we definitely can. You know, I didn't even think about that. Going back to the old 303 days for North Penn. So all of you long-termers out there, 303 is what you listened for. And inevitably somebody always talked or something happened. It's like 301. Hey, what's going on? We got to wait for that loop again. So anyway, let's talk about the November action meeting. We were at Hatfield Township. Tell us about, we've been traveling to our different municipalities, and Hatfield Township, they were just such gracious hosts. We held our meeting there. We just want to talk a little bit about Hatfield Township and our relationship with them and how the meeting went that night.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. So as we said last month, and maybe even the month before, we are taking our show on the road. One, because we think it's just a great thing to get out into the community and bring meetings to folks, but also strengthen partnerships with our community leaders and townships and emergency personnel as well. So last month, we were in Montgomery Township, and this month, Hatfield Township. And they were so gracious. First of all, the building, the facility itself is gorgeous. They gave us a Yeti water bottle gift so we can represent Hatfield Township well. And the space was great. I think it was easier on you and your team because they had these automatic cameras that are already set up and focus in on the speaker.
It was nice. They definitely had. They also televised their board meetings, which you can check out on their channel. I'm not sure of their channel, but yeah, it was nice. I said when in Rome. So if you look there, it looks like a Hatfield Township meeting, except it was all North Penn folks up there this time. So it went really well for us as well.
Yeah, that's great. And we really appreciate them and their hospitality. But we started off, as we've been doing at these meetings, with highlighting students from that area. So we typically do a proclamation, and we would honor, for example, an athletics team, someone for their performances. But this month we went a different route. We had some student heroes that on Diwali, a young man and a young woman were driving down the street, and they noticed a fire in someone's garage, and they hopped out of the car, banged on the door, and ultimately notified them that, hey, your garage is on fire, and quite possibly saved lives that evening. So the two students were Ryan Huang and Sophia Choi, and we recognized them to kick off the meeting. So I thought that was a great way to really highlight just how great our students are here in North Penn. And then after that, we did a highlight of Penfield students. Last month, it was Bridle Path Elementary. This time we went to the middle level and highlighted some great things going on at Penfield Middle School. The two student representatives, Malachi and Giuseppe, they highlighted their status as a no place for hate school, and also their web program, which is Where Everyone Belongs.
Yeah, and they did a stellar job on that presentation. I thought it was interesting too, meeting Ryan and Sophia. I was copied on the email when a resident let us know about that, which was great. And immediately we wanted to make sure that we thanked them and acknowledged both of them. But it really was, the email came in for Ryan first, and Ryan right away was like, it wasn't just me. It was me. Yeah. I was with Sophia. Sophia was knocking on the door. I was calling 911. So it was, I felt both those kids were great and really humble about it. So much so they're like, I don't need any recognition. It's just all in a day's work kind of thing, So it was wonderful having all the students there at the meeting for us. So we also at the meeting, we approved our strategic plan, comprehensive plan. Sorry about that. So let's talk about that. I know we've talked about it a couple of times here. It's officially approved. What's that mean? And where can people learn more?
Yeah, so the comprehensive plan is posted to the website. I will say that it's not the most user-friendly document. And there's this interface on PDE's website called the Future Ready Comprehensive Planning Portal. That's a mouthful, but we have to actually fill out all these separate fields about goals, put in data, and then it kind of builds our plan for us. And based upon the information you put in, it will establish your priorities and lead you through like action planning and so forth. So the established priorities, I apologize for being verbose, but I think they're worthy of sharing. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them for this plan. And again, they're just like overarching priorities. And then the devil is really in the details of, sorry, phone's ringing. Of the actual action plan. So our priority statements are: our district will continue to prioritize created, updating learning spaces. Okay, these are in no particular order, mind you. The environmental and economic impact to our community must be considered due to the complexity and costs associated with projects of this magnitude. That's speaking specifically to the high school campus. Next, special education students will be offered increased opportunities in the least restrictive environment. We will also strengthen our current structure to better engage our students and families in collaborative conversations. Based on the feedback from the LEA selected data collection tool and our safety assessment, we will continue to make practical, structural, and systemic enhancements that will result in improved student and staff's physical, emotional, and mental safety and well-being. And lastly, our district will further develop practices and structures to support community partnerships in order to enrich the opportunities for students to engage in post-secondary experiences and for families to benefit from their resources. So then the action plan further down gets into how we're going to go about these things, starts talking about student achievement data. So it is a very comprehensive document, and everybody's encouraged to read it.
So that's one thing I think people will listen to that. And I made the error right off the top. I called it a strategic plan, but this is what the state requires every school district submit on an annual basis, correct?
That actually every 3 years.
Okay. And then a strategic plan is our guiding document that definitely would feed a comprehensive plan to the state as well. So just make sure people understand the differences there between those two. We also voted on a resolution to not exceed Act 1 index. Can you tell us what that means for the community?
Yes. So Act 1 was some legislation put forth years ago that caps how much a school district can raise property taxes. So each year, while there are projections, we wait till the fall to find out what will the Act 1 index be for this coming budget year. So for the 23-24 school year. And this year it is 4.1%. And you can raise taxes above that number for 2 reasons. One is special education, and the other is for PIECERS funding. And so by the school district and the board approving this resolution, that is their way of telling the community, we will not apply for these exceptions, and we will not go above that 4.1%. It's not committing to 4.1. It's not committing to less than 4.1. It's just saying we won't go over that.
Yeah, and that also accelerates our budget process as well, since we don't have to apply for the exceptions. Beyond that, our budget calendar can move up a little bit more since we're not waiting for approval on those. Is that accurate?
I believe it's actually the opposite, Bob.
Oh, it takes longer.
Yeah, I think, well, you have more grace period because you don't have as many steps to go through.
I guess I'm feeling like when I say move up, we can do what we need to do. And you're right. So it's not like we need to get something done before a certain date,
right,
and submit it to the state. You're accurate. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why you're the superintendent.
Yeah. I tried to be nice about it.
Yeah, no, that was great. You did a great job. I felt really good about that. So let's talk about the business office and our CFO, Mr. Steve Scrocky. He had a new contract on the agenda. So how long do we get to keep Steve for?
Yeah, so this is actually the last year of our chief financial officer's contract. It expired at the end of June of 2023. It would be expiring. So certainly when I was announced as the new superintendent and ultimately approved, that was one of my priorities. Steve has done such a great job here in the district. We are fiscally sound, and we are preparing ourselves for a major renovation of North Penn High School. I believe most folks know that by now. And I do believe we're well positioned for that, which is going to be a huge project. That all said, we needed to make sure we had Steve for the foreseeable future. And the contract negotiations, quite honestly, were pretty simple, Bob. He wanted to be here. We wanted him to be here. And we have him for at least 3 more years. So his contract is from July 1st of 2023 through June 30th of 2026.
That's excellent. It's such a win for us. He's so well respected across the state and, of course, respected here. All you have to do is watch any of the finance meetings to know how much expertise he brings to the table for us in the North Penn School District. We're lucky to have him here for a couple more years, which is awesome. So now my phone's ringing. Is it the same person?
Perhaps. Well, I do have to say that, in terms of financial responsibilities, when you become a superintendent, right? I've managed a building budget as the principal of North Penn High School. I've managed departmental budgets as a department chair, and even been involved in the process as an assistant principal, but never something of the magnitude of $300 million, right? I mean, that's our district budget and the responsibility that comes along with it. And so you really need to have a strong business manager. In many districts, they refer to the position. Here it's the chief financial officer. And we are just so fortunate to have Steve. He is so talented. He has a great way of explaining things in layman's terms publicly, simplifying these very complex processes. Has a very dry sense of humor. So I love the way he presents things at times. And I'm just really happy to have him and his expertise leading us moving forward.
Agreed. So it's getting a little colder here in November, a little chilly this morning. So everybody, we had a couple flurries this weekend too. So we get into the superintendent's most favorite time of the year is when we have to start looking at weather and snow days. So do you want to talk about any of the changes or what we're looking at for this winter concerning snow days?
Yeah, I was hoping we wouldn't have to talk about this yet, but given that we did see some winter precipitation, some frozen precipitation last week, I do think it's time to give folks a heads up. So we do have a communication prepared for just after break to kind of outline for families in the community what to expect from, I guess, the new leadership here. I don't think things will change all that dramatically. But there are different iterations of the snow day, right? There are days where we have a crippling storm, where nobody can drive, the roadways are impassable, and it is dangerous to be out for any reason, right? Those are easy. They're forecast for a foot of snow, and you're not going to have school. Okay, fine, snow day. Everything's shut down. We could have power issues, etc. That's easy. It's the challenging of the timing. It's not that much snow, but it's really disrupting arrival. We have to clean off all the buses, our sidewalks shoveled. Can kids safely get to their bus stops or the early dismissal? Those are the things that are really, really challenging, making those judgment calls in the moment. And there's so many folks who are involved in the decision. So ultimately, here's how I envision snow days working this year. I would love for us to have up to two true snow days. Everyone just has a snow day, right? That is it is a childhood dream of everyone, no school. So we want to provide that opportunity for kids where, you know what, you're not going to school today. You get to be outside, go play in the snow, go sledding, and take care of what you need to take care of. That's for parents and for kids. Then in the event that we know a storm is coming and we know well in advance, maybe a couple days, and we can prepare accordingly, the virtual snow day will come into play, much like it has in the past. The last 2 years, I guess, we've used virtual snow days.
Yep.
But we're looking to make them more asynchronous. And by asynchronous, I mean that the work, the videos, the expectations are posted and students and families can do them at their leisure. At a time that works for them. One, I think it's more manageable for our teachers because we certainly understand that they're juggling a lot at the same time, right? They likely have children home with them, and they have responsibilities for shoveling driveways and getting things cleared out. But it also allows equitable access to all of our kids. Some students cannot learn from a laptop. or on a screen, and they need something that is planned in advance, that can be sent home or programmed for individually for that student. And we believe that doing so with an asynchronous format is more equitable for all kids. So it is difficult to require kids to log on for 7.5 hours a day amidst the chaos of a snow day. And so we're hopeful to go with the asynchronous route. So up to 2 regular snow days where there is no school and no one's working aside from essential personnel who need to help get the buildings and facilities ready. And then the virtual days will be asynchronous. That's the plan.
Excellent. Yeah, and that communication will come out after the Thanksgiving holiday. So we'll have all the details in there, and then we get to see it in practice. I don't know. How quickly you got a prediction on your first call for snow as a superintendent?
Well, I do have to say I have a family trip planned.
It's going to be then.
Yeah, so that's exactly right, Bob. So an annual trip with my wife and kids and some of other family. It's just a long weekend, and we are going out of state. And I just predict it's going to be that weekend.
Of course, that's the way it always goes. That's the way it always goes.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm hopeful that it's not until well into January, but we'll see.
And I always like to put this out here because I know this all these years of posting snow days and social media and everything else. Ultimately, always know that we're trying to make the best decision for kids and the safety of all of our students and staff. So doesn't matter what we do. We're going to have a Buffalo style storm for people to go, okay, that's a snow day, or the opposite, that there's a huge team of people making sure we try to make the best decision as possible when that comes. So let's talk about this past Saturday. It was North Penn night at the Sixers. Tell me about that. You got to open up at the beginning of the Sixers game there, and tell me about your experience with our staff and the Sixers that night.
Yeah, it was really a special evening for North Penn. So your department, Bob, under the leadership of Mrs. Christine Liberoski,
Superstar,
planned a North Penn night at the Sixers. And essentially, we got group rates on tickets for our staff and their families and friends to come to the Sixers. We sold over 300 tickets, which is just a great number. I guess roughly 15% or so. Just exciting to have people get together in that environment. Now, we weren't all seated together, and there were obviously differentiated price ranges, lower level, second level, all the way up in the assembly. But just to see a lot of familiar faces and people coming down just to have fun together. It was great. So as a perk of us being such a large group, they recognized me and my family pregame on the court. So we got to go, all North Penn staff who came got to go down the lower section to watch a shoot around and the warm-ups and things like that. But then my wife and my 2 children and a couple other kids from other North Penn members were recognized mid-court just before the start of the game, which is pretty cool. And actually, give me 5 seconds here. You got to kill time.
All right.
Okay.
So it was such a great time there. I got to tell you, seeing everybody where we're going, we saw the North Penn Strong shirts. It was a lot of fun just to be down in the city. And then we're looking for our group door to go in. And we just all funneled to the same place. Like, you with North Penn? Hey, you're with North Penn. We'd start seeing each other, make sure we get to the right door to go in. So it's kind of almost everywhere I looked, I saw somebody from North Penn. It was a pretty fun night.
Yeah. So as part of the recognition, which was really great, and I'm humbled, I didn't do anything exceptional aside from the fact that my job title, that they chose to recognize my family. And then they gave me this.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. For anyone listening, they gave me a North Penn Sixers. They gave me a Sixers jersey, and they asked what name and number you want on it. And I thought Bauer would be silly. I do not play for the Sixers. But my favorite number is 13. I was a Dan Marino fan when I was little. And then I asked them to just put North Penn on it. So this will get framed and hung up in the office, I hope. But it was really just a special event for everyone. So I really enjoyed it. And thanks to Christine in particular.
Yeah, no, it was great. And it's, after all these years of COVID and all the different things we've had to do to be able to get together as a staff in an environment where it was just like, we're just coming out and watching a game and having a great time. It was wonderful to see everybody. All right.
Can I share a quick story?
Yes.
All right.
We had all the time we want, Dr. Bauer. What do you want to talk about?
So here's a quick story. So as we're leaving the court, they say the Philadelphia 76ers would like to recognize Dr. Todd Bauer in the North Penn School District, right? And we're walking off the court. And I had asked the gentleman, the rep from the Sixers, who's the nicest person on the team? And he quickly highlighted George Niang, and George is a role player. He comes off the bench, or Tyrese Maxey, right? And most people know Tyrese. He's an emerging superstar. Well, Tyrese is hurt right now. He rolled his ankle Friday night. So George actually came up to the kids as we were walking off the floor and gave them high fives, but missed my daughter. Okay. And my daughter loves to play basketball. And she unfortunately was recently cut from her middle school basketball team, right? Which was very hard as a family. And that's a difficult thing to go through as a parent. So I was like, oh no, he missed her. And then he went back and gave her a high five or a fist bump or something. So he went out of his way to go recognize her. He had no idea, of course, who she was or anything. So I sent him a message on social media and I thought it would be nice to say, hey, you have no idea how much those high fives mean. And my daughter went through a really difficult time a couple of weeks ago and was really sad and loves basketball, and to be there and for you to go back and give her a fist bump is pretty cool. Thank you. And thanks for being the type of person that the employees recognize as the nicest guy on the team. And he wrote me back and just kind of essentially said, you have no idea how much that message means to me. Please tell your daughter, Cameron, to keep running her race. It's not how you start, but how you finish. And thanks for your support. Like something like just really cool. And for an employee to say, hey, that guy, George Niang, is a really nice guy, for him to do that and prove it to me.
Yeah, he proved it.
Yeah, that's really, really touching. So I thought it was cool. They are just human beings like you and I.
Yep.
And I thought that was a pretty cool moment.
No, that's awesome. So speaking of that, let's talk about, we've got Thanksgiving coming up. It's a holiday of gratitude and feasting and family. What are you most grateful for as you reflect on your first couple months here at Superintendent and going into the Thanksgiving holiday with your family?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Bob. I am so grateful for the trust that the district, the school board, and the community have put in me in particular. Everywhere I turn, people essentially say, hey, we're cheering for you. Hey, you're going to do great things. Hey, we're excited to have you as a leader. And that is not lost on me one bit. It's a huge responsibility. We have 13,000 students, 100,000 community members, right? And I was driving through Lansdale on Saturday and saw the Mardi Gras parade in Lansdale. You just look around, you're like, oh man, it's a lot of responsibility. It's a huge community with a lot of people who all want what's best for their children and expect a lot out of their school district, and I am just so grateful for the trust that folks have put in me and the confidence and the support. They don't just trust me, they're eager to help and help me and us ultimately to be successful. So I mean, that might be cliche, but it is the honest truth that I couldn't do this job or be successful without all the wonderful people from the community and the staff and our teachers and our support staff and administration. I'm so thankful. I feel like it is the perfect position because of the people who are here.
It's awesome. So what about you personally? Are you cooking a turkey? Are you traveling, or what's your family doing this Thanksgiving?
Yeah, so Thanksgiving is where two of my favorite hobbies collide. Maybe three.
I'm with you. I think I'm going to at least get two of them. Go ahead.
All right. So the first one is I have a smoker. Okay. And I love it's a Traeger, and I love to cook on the smoker. And so a couple years ago, we started a tradition where I make the turkey, and then my in-laws do everything else. So we are headed to my in-laws who don't live far away, roughly a mile, and I will be smoking the turkey Wednesday into Thursday.
Nice.
I'm excited for that. And then Thursday evening, we've actually started a tradition as well that my kids and I head north to Vermont to go skiing for the weekend. So it's just me and the kids and some friends and their kids. And we go skiing without my wife. And she kind of gets ready for Christmas and, of course, talks to Santa about the things that the kids need or want. And it's just a nice time with me and my children, and, things we'll remember forever. And then finally, of course, on Thanksgiving, I just love to be with family and enjoy the time and watch sports. And it's just, it's very laid back, a time to reflect and feel good about. Let me flip the script here.
I said I only got one of those. I thought you were just going to go straight up. Thanksgiving is by far my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
I'm required to eat,
Okay.
watch football, and then just hanging out with family. That's the eating, the stories. You know, it's tough to get everybody together, and Thanksgiving's one of those holidays where we all get together. We host, so I'm in the mode where Cheryl does most of the work. My wife Cheryl does most of the work. I'll carve. I'll keep an eye on the turkey and all of that. So we do the turkey and some other things, but everybody brings something. So we're not hammered with every single side dish. So it's a nice mix from everybody else. So I like to eat. I like to eat some more, and then watch football, fall asleep. That's a wonderful holiday for me. So I love it. Absolutely love it. Looking.
So what was the one thing you guessed for me?
Oh no, you just said you liked eating and football. So I'm like, I thought you're just gonna be like, I like eating and I like watching football. You were smoking turkey.
I have you buffering really badly. I don't know if it's me or you. Kill your camera. Let's see if that does it. Yeah, I can't hear you at all. All right, so I'm going to take over here because I can't hear Mr. Gilmer. So if you're listening, we'd like to thank you for joining us for the Superintendent Live in November. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. If you wouldn't mind, share this on Facebook or share it with friends. We have received a lot of positive feedback. We get a lot of views. I just think it's a good, succinct way to hear kind of what's going on, almost like a podcast format, what's going on in the school district following a board meeting. So if you and your family celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And if you don't, I hope you have a wonderful break here at the end of November. It is, regardless of what you celebrate, it is a time to reflect and be thankful for the things that you have, and be supportive and helpful of others. So thanks so much for listening. We look forward to catching up in December. Hopefully, Mr. Gilmer will have his technology repaired by then. And just thanks again, everyone. Have a great day.